15 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And about the Steadicam that you created, when exactly was the first release?
Well, first of all, I made one for myself first because I had a huge dolly, you know. And remember, to move the camera smoothly before Steadicam, you needed a dolly or a crane or a camera car, right? So I was a little filmmaker in Philadelphia, and I had an enormous dolly and a little stupid little camera, you know, a Bolex, you know. And so I was 3,000 miles from Hollywood with my big dolly, you know, and my little camera. And it just seemed so stupid to me, you know. And I wanted to disconnect the cameraman from the camera. And so that was the start of Steadicam. In 1973, I started shooting. And finally, in 1974, I had one that worked. And in 75, I shot 3 movies with it. Because remember, the great thing about the Steadicam invention is you can show what it does on screen and not give away how it does it. When you see the results on screen, you don't know how it works. So I could show it in Hollywood and they would go, wow, you know. So that was helpful because I could make a deal and get a manufacturer and so on. And I made a reel in 1974 of impossible shots. Could not be done. And that reel was seen by Stanley Kubrick and, you know, Spielberg and, you know, everybody in the world in 35 millimeter. And so that's how it got started. I had an earlier one that worked, but it was terrible. It was huge. And so I went into a hotel for a week and took all my drawings and I gave myself the job of thinking how to make it work. And this is interesting because I think people today do not go away and think. They all look at their screens. They look for solutions in the outside by the screen, you know. So that actually was what let me think of it, you know. After a week of torture, I had an idea, you know, and then I had that made and it worked. So this is now a long time ago, Saki. This is 44 years ago, you know. And the astounding thing is Steadicam is still here, you know. He was number 2. The first one was Bound for Glory, and the third one was Marathon Man, a great film. And then I shot, you know, a bunch of movies, and then The Shining in 1979. So I am older than I look. You know. He saw the reel after that I told you about, and he sent us a telex. Remember telex? You know, telex was before email, right? And we had this astounding telex from Stanley that said, "Should revolutionize the way films are shot. You can count on me as a customer." You know, I'm reading this like, because I loved Kubrick. He liked it right away, and he used it very well. And I think it would be difficult to make The Shining without it. You know, it's very hard to stabilize a floor for a big dolly shot. So it did give Stanley a freedom that was extremely good for the movie. This is the latest Steadicam for smartphones. It's called the Volt. It folds up, you know, which we like. And the problem is, if you make a Steadicam for a small weight, and the Steadicam is light, it's extremely difficult to use to be completely stable because there's not much weight. Now notice this one is top heavy. Can you see that? So we add magnetic weights until it's just bottom heavy, right? This is a bit technical, but stand by, you'll love this. I'm moving this weight downhill to make it bottom heavy. Ooh, almost. Well, we're getting close. So this you do one time because Steadicam is a balanced object, right? Okay. Very slightly bottom heavy, in balance. And it still would be a very difficult Steadicam to use because it's super light. But watch this. This is the first Steadicam in the world that is a hybrid of electronics and mechanics. Something we always dreamed of, okay? This is really fun. We're getting a tremendous reaction to this. We had it on something called Kickstarter here, which is a crowdfunding for 100,000 US, and it went 1,000,001, which is pretty good. So I'm in love with this thing. It's startling, you know. It's just a very inexpensive plastic object. It costs $200, which is ridiculous. A big Steadicam costs $40,000. And I hate to say it, but you could shoot almost as well with this as you can with the big.
When did you get this idea?
Well, I did this with a partner. Steve Wagner did the electronics. I don't do that. And I helped with the mechanics, little gears inside, you know, that kind of thing. And this we knew, you know, as soon as we saw cell phones, we knew we wanted a good Steadicam. And we also knew that it had to be augmented, you know. So there it is.